to another movie review from MBE. We're here on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us here on this Sunday night. Should have been Friday night, but we'll get into that in a little moment. I'm on your co-host Stephen John McLaughlin. Our other co-host is John C. Walsh.
Still get that spot in my face.
We are going to be talking about, of course, 12 Fail, John. This was the film that we last watched. We did the watch-along, part 1 through to 4, Monday to Thursday. And we were hoping to obviously continue that into Friday to keep the days succinct. But unfortunately, I took unwell, John, as you know. I had to message you. I was trying to leave it at last minute, but I couldn't even talk. My eyes were all puffy and everything. So 2 days later, we're back.
Wasn't laughing at the time, but it did put my mind on something. I can't remember what it was.
Was it maybe Howard from The Big Bang Theory when he ate that nut bar?
Might have been. Yeah,
that's what it was like.
It was like me back in the day when I got a piece of metal in my eye.
I was like,
I was walking my dog and it was watering profusely.
What was his name again? I'm trying to think of Schwarzenegger's Hauser, was it? From Total Recall, Schwarzenegger's character. He's on Mars. Yeah. So it's like bulging eyes. I was like, I can't go on camera looking like that, but yeah,
you're back with a bang though,
yeah.
Stephen.
And I can almost breathe, so might as well do this while it's fresh in the head as well, because you've got to remember that, John. I've actually went back and watched this again.
Have you?
Yeah. When I was not well, I thought, I'm going to fever dreams, so I might as well have fever dreams about a good thing, and 12 Fail was a good thing.
I've seen it at least 3 times through editing.
And I said this, I think it's part 4, I said this has got rewatchability. It has. It really has. And I was also conscious that it was quite a while ago we filmed. It was not this week. It was last week we filmed it. So I thought, I just need to make sure I've got everything in place and I remember everything.
I've got a good memory, I'll be fine.
And
I think...
John, I know I'll pass it over to you in a little minute to go through this review experience, but just before we do that, to kind of set this thing up, sometimes when you know a film is going to be, particularly a drama one, is going to be emotionally charged, sometimes, and I know you're probably the same, you kind of try and psych yourself up and be prepared for that, so you're ready, so you're going to, I'm not going to cry at this, you know, and that's fine. Sometimes that's the way people want to get into these things. This is a different thing altogether, because I didn't think this would be like that, because we have went down the road, obviously, a Quota Factory, which did have emotional moments in it, particularly season 2 finale.
Even season 1 finale, I think, when he's leaving, I forget her name.
Yeah.
Sort of romantic, the girl. And he's going down the alleyway on the bike.
And also
it was pretty emotive.
The what was the other one we watched? The Aspirants as well.
Aspirants was very that theme there.
You know, and there was really special moments in that. But this is on another level. This is in the same level emotionally as a film like 96. Now the good thing about 96 was, if anyone's ever watched our review of that, we didn't do a watch along at the time, we weren't doing them. We did it with our good friend Ruth at the time, who introduced us to the film. But Ruth did a really clever thing. She didn't tell us how emotional that film was going to be. And that's a good thing, because we went in quite... would you say that we went in obviously innocent?
Steve, that film was packing punches.
Yeah.
An hour and 20 minutes in.
Yeah.
I always go back to the reunion scene.
Yeah.
When Trisha's character. It's Trisha, isn't it? Yeah, Trisha.
But do you like getting into a film like this, John? Having that vulnerability about it? Do you like getting into that? Not knowing that you're going to be impacted that way? Because this film did that to me.
No, I do.
It really did. And when I was watching it again, the same thing happened. I even watched our watch along. I went in I made the part 4 a premiere, because I wanted to see people's obviously reaction. I wanted to maybe interact a little bit. And I watched that final scene. I know we'll get into obviously that in a moment, but again, it just had an impact.
I tell you, I'll admit, when I was editing it, I was getting...
Yeah, it's such a great film.
And then I was getting teared up about 40 minutes later when I discovered that it had been blocked, and I had to go in and edit it again. Then again. But I did, when I watched it back, because Stephen, you're so invested in the Manosh character, and that's the brilliance of the writing. And the writer, I'm going to find his name.
And Vikram Massey, yeah.
Jas Kunwar, I can't even see the name. Jas Kunwar, Kohli, Anurag Patak. Obviously, directors wrote the stories, directed. That's down to the brilliance of the writing in this movie. They wonderfully bond you to the Sharma family and just their plight in this very modest little village in a wild area of India. They late on Fick. I think it's Pandey, is that his name? His friend? Pritam Pandey.
Who narrated, yeah.
He's narrating at the start. He says the name of it. It's notorious for bandits or whatnot. It's very rough and ready. There's a lot of corruption. And we see that with the mayors and the sort of the governance of the area and the father.
Yeah.
A lot of corruption, a lot of seediness. So it's not a... I said at the time it felt like a nice sort of serene place to live because it's rural. It's untouched by the sort of city lights. There's a rusticness to it. There's something nice. It's like Panchayat.
Yeah.
There's something about that simple way of living that almost resonates. But then you see the sheer hardship that his family is going through. The father leaves to fight the government and fight this corruption. And you see the sheer hardship that his mother's going through, trying to keep a house or a roof over their heads. How that's impacting on his brother, on Manoj. They're having to do this sort of... I forget the name of it. It's not a taxi, but it's kind of like that. Is it a rickshaw?
Rickshaw, yeah.
Having to rickshaw, travel, carry people about to make ends meet. And he wonderfully bonds you to that family, and Manoj in particular. And what a journey it is. It's one of the greatest redemptions I've seen outside of what a Michael Corleone. It really is. The journey this guy goes on from a no-gooder, cheating, no hope in life. He's going to be at best an office boy. At worst, he's going to be doing menial jobs his entire life. To go from that to what he becomes at the end is fucking sensational.
John, I sensed it from you. I think maybe the last half hour. I think it probably was the last part 4 actually. You were sensing things are going too smoothly.
Yeah.
Things are going
I was nervous.
and I could sense that off you. And I thought John cares about his character. I can tell he cares because he's getting
very
concerned for
rare,
him.
Stephen, that I get nervous for a character
because you're rooting
in
for
a
him.
film.
Yeah, you want it to have a happy ending.
Yeah,
which it does. But it's
I
getting
can't
there.
remember the last time I've had that watching a film.
John,
I've actually been nervous.
I think well,
for a character in a film. That's how well written the story is.
I think there's levels. I think there's degrees of how you connect to characters and stuff like that. But I think that's really one of the ones that are up there.
Maybe
for me.
like the MCU movies, the Infinity War and Endgame.
I think if you invest in them,
because it's 11 years of journeying with the characters. This is one movie. It's
to
2.5
do that,
hours long.
yeah. And
It's
we
not got
knew
11 years of story behind it.
we obviously knew Vikrant Massey from
Made in Heaven and
Made in Heaven was
Mirzapur.
yeah.
It was,
and a fine actor, and we see again. This is, I think, the first film we've saw him in, and I think I mentioned maybe part 1 or 2. I really like the supporting cast in this as well. The characters are fantastic, but they're obviously made up by the fantastic acting of the supporting cast. Just very strong. They weren't. Sometimes you get a film where you get a real good A-lister and the rest of them are all like sort of B, C listers,
Well,
this
someone
didn't feel
commented
that way. Yeah.
Someone commented that Bollywood's finally starting to realise that not everything has to be a beginning and end with big bombastic action movies with handsome, charismatic, beautiful human beings.
There was beautiful human beings in this, but I get what they were saying,
Vikrant Massey's not a good looking guy. I'm not saying that, but he's a very ordinary looking guy. And someone, it's not my words, someone else that commented this, that Bollywood seems to be switching on and realising that
keep it real.
It doesn't have to be a Hrithik Roshan or a Shah Rukh Khan that's leading your movies. It can be a Vikrant Massey, and he can be an ordinary man in an ordinary story. It's not fucking larger than life. It's just a simple story about a young guy going through the absolute run of all emotions and succeeding.
One of the other things that I really liked about this was as well is that we've seen the success story before, John. In these situations, we saw it in Aspirants. Coat Factory, perhaps we're still seeing that journey because it's still, obviously, we're going to get a third season of that. I think, obviously, Aspirants as well, getting a second season of that, aren't we? Mm-hmm. But you saw the journey, the success, getting there, getting to that sort of place that they all hope and dream of, and only a small percentage get to. We saw that same story in here, and it still has the same impact. It still has that same, feeling of rooting for the main character, the one you want to succeed, the one you want to reach that goal, and you still have those same feelings. It's not something that wears away. It's not something I've seen this before. I've seen how the successful, this is just the same old story. It didn't feel like that at all.
Quota has not really had the failing aspect, though.
Well, apart from obviously the suicide of one of
the main character, I think he passed. He went to, can't remember the name of the college.
I think it's because that story's still taking place, you know.
Whereas Aspirants did have the failing aspect.
Aspirants could have finished in one season and one season only, and it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm glad they're doing a second season because I really like the characters.
But it's important, Stephen, for a story like this that it's not just everything just clicks into place and it's a simple A to B, because that's not life. Life is trials and tribulations, it's ups and downs. Again, as Ronan Keating sung. Life is a roller coaster, just got to ride it.
Do you think this would have worked? Do you think this would have worked with this cast, with that story, as a web series? Or do you think it was better?
No, Stephen, I do like web series when they're done right. And certain stories do necessitate being a web series. They require longer storytelling. They require an hour, an episode, 6, 7, 8, 10 episodes to tell the story. Mm-hmm. But there's something special when a director and a writing team get together and create something that's very tight and condensed and just works in a 2.5 hour runtime. If you can tell a story in 2.5 hours, make it a movie. If you can attract actors of this calibre, and I'm not just talking about Vikrant Massey, I'm talking about Medha Shankar. Anshuman Pushkar was incredible as Gauri. Even the grandmother, she was in it barely, but she was really impactful. Yeah. Just the cast as a whole, even Anand Joshi.
A name was just grandmother,
the grandmother, Pritam Pandey, Anand Joshi was tragic character. Yeah. Terrified to go against his father, just being pushed along this path. It was not something that compelled him. And that's why ultimately he keeps failing. Yeah. Because it's not something he has his heart in. He doesn't want to be this. He doesn't want to live that life. He doesn't want to be.
It was almost Manoj, sort of yin and yang, wasn't he?
But Manoj is just determined. He wants to do it. He's been inspired by that Dushyant Singh character, the DSP character. He came in and changed his life. He is absolutely determined. He's going to make a change. He's got that in his sort of familial blood, if you'd like, his father, that desire to change the country. He was always going to succeed, whereas Pritam admits about an hour and a bit into the movie, he's not long into Delhi and he says he wants to be on TV. Yeah. And by the end, he becomes what he wants to be. He's a reporter. Yeah. So it's just brilliant storytelling, brilliant characters popping off the screen. You could make that work in a TV show, but I think it's better if you can make it work in a 2.5 hour movie. Do it, because this movie packs a punch.
I was going to say as well, John, that I was very surprised. Obviously, the running time we are used to, obviously 3 hours, 3.5 hour Indian movies. Yeah. This one an hour short of that, and it still managed to pack a punch. It still managed to tell the story in not a rushed way. I thought the pacing of this film was incredible. Some people, I think it maybe have been just one person that came into one of your videos and said, I think they noticed our change of clothes and noticed you really should watch these, in one sitting. I think what some people don't understand is that John and I have got full-time jobs, and although we do agree that's the way we would want to do it, we don't have the time to sit down and watch one continuous film. Unfortunately, but I don't think that has any effect or any impact on our viewing pleasure, because
we both get very good memory.
And John, you're re-editing this all the time. You're cutting it and stuff, so you're seeing it over and over again as well. So, I've said, I've
seen this movie about 3-4 times.
Yeah, I've seen it twice now. So it's an incredible film, and I watched it again like continuously that second time on Friday night, and I felt, I don't think the experience is any different to when we were watching it in parts, to be honest with you. So
we're that used to it now as well. It's the way we do content in this channel. We have to split it up because of time constraints.
And the other thing as well, John, is that we know that we're going to, by the end of it, do a review like we're doing right now. Yeah. So we have to make sure we're paying attention, and we have to make sure we know what we're talking about. So I kind of laugh at comments. I say, you shouldn't really pick up your mobile phone when you're you're actually looking at IMDb to look at names. You've got to remember that some of these names are
a subwoofer and surround sound, and it's playing and we can hear it. Yeah. And a lot of the times with the Indian content, all of the time with the Indian content, we can't understand the word that's been said unless it's maybe a Madachod, a Benchod, a Chutiya, something like Bhai, something like that. Those are the words I know. I'm just looking at the screen and reading it. Yeah. And I'm a quick reader. I'm a very quick reader. And I'm quite, believe it or not, I'm not going to blow my own trumpet here, but I'm quite an intelligent guy, so I do retain information. You might not believe that, but I really do retain a lot of information.
I think we've done enough.
I'm reading it and I'm hearing it,
John, to know how to absorb the format, because we've talked about it as well, that I think in the early days when you're trying to read subtitles and you're trying to look at emotional reactions, you're looking up and you're going, it's like Ross and Friends when he's trying to do his speech, he's looking at his cards and
it's fucking hard.
you know, but you become accustomed to it, and it's our way of doing it, you know, but we do take everything in, and there will be things that go over our head, maybe some references, especially if
religious stuff.
Yeah, religious or historical stuff. That's just natural. We don't know everything, but we know what's in front of us, and there will be things. I think perhaps maybe in the what was the last Salah?
Salah, there was some references.
That just went over our head, and even if we sat there and glued our eyes to the screen, we still wouldn't have understood that. That's just the way it is. But in this, John, I thought the storytelling was very succinct.
It's universal.
Yeah.
Everyone's faced tests in their life to different degrees. Everyone's faced sort of trials and tribulations, peaks and troughs. Everyone's went through something reasonably close to what Minaj and the other people went through.
Yeah.
So it's a universal story that we can all relate to.
A couple of comments, John.
And then obviously, we have got a couple, but such an outstanding film. It is.
Yeah.
You guys should watch Joanna Patan. We have seen Patan. I believe we've reacted to.
We did.
Patan.
We had to pull it. I think some of the episodes actually pulled off their channel because of copyright. I think there's maybe a couple up there which doesn't make sense. Might have to just remove those as well, because it's like part 2, 4 and 5. It's there, but 1, 3 and 6
Was that
aren't.
when the channel was getting struck?
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah. So we had to just take them off. But we have watched that, John. I would watch Jawan, to be fair.
That's quite funny,
I think we've not seen enough SRK, so why not?
Watch Gurish, never heard of it, or Guzarish, I should say. But we'll have a look. We always write things down and sort of keep our eyes on it and see what's happening. But we've got loads planned and the pipeline, so I'm sure we'll get around to doing some of them at some point. Yeah. But getting back to this, Stephen, structurally, just try and add a tiny bit of structure. I like the conversational though. I like it when it's just free flowing, so I don't want to add too much structure. But Steve, we've watched a lot of movies recently from the subcontinent and from Hollywood, which are a little bit off-piste in terms of the way that they are building the movie. Obviously, Salah, as you mentioned, multiple timeline. Sometimes slightly confusing, but in the end you get it. Yeah. Poor Things, timeline-wise, a little bit fucking mental. Just in general, a slightly mental film. This is a more, don't know what word to use, but it's a more sort of
connective.
No, not connective. It's like a sort of a normal kind of movie in terms of the structure. It's a more OG kind of script.
Traditional.
It's linear.
Yeah.
You're following Manoj, and it's very much from the young guy in that village all the way through. You're following him through this journey. It's linear. It's a linear storytelling. It's no real timeline jumps. There's no real flashbacks
or anything like that.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, you do get maybe. Do you get a flashback? I don't think we do. No, we don't. I'm pretty sure we don't. Do we?
Flashbacks we get are the flashbacks that we already saw previously in the film. I think we got the sandal slapping thing.
Yeah, that was.
But that's just brief. It's just obviously to remind you, but no deliberate structure. Yeah,
and I liked it. What for this movie, Stephen? As I says, the story was exquisite. The way they told this story, it's simplistic. It's following Manoj. It's following the highs and the lows of his character. But first and foremost, it bonds you, as I did say, with the family. It bonds you with the plight, and that's so important. And it's something that I think Indian cinema does brilliantly, even in the likes of, blanking on the name of this movie, VJ, Telepathy VJ movie. Why am I blanking on the name of it? VJ Telepathy Master.
Yeah.
Lokesh Kanagaraj does an incredible job of bonding you to VJ Telepathy's villainous character.
Yeah.
First 15 minutes, you're spent with him as a young guy in this youth detention place. That then means when you move forward, there's a rhyme and reason to what he's doing, what shaped him, what motivates him. Similar in this, it's not a villain, but you're bonding with the character hardcore for the first 15-20 minutes, and that means when you move forward, you are glued to that
you're
guy.
You're either going to care or you're not going to care for the character.
And that's what goes back to what you mentioned, Stephen, feeling nervous for the character.
Yeah.
Certainly I did.
I think at the bus station, John, I think that was the moment I went, you know, this guy's lost everything, and it's going to be going to be interesting to see how he gets himself out of this. Obviously, he is at Pritam.
Yeah, he bails him out big time.
You know, and that
He
first
saved his
introduction, you think, well, this is a glimmer of hope here, but he's still got this journey to go on, you know, and how's he going to live? You know, how's he going to work? He's going to a strange city. He doesn't know anyone. He's not getting any connections, and it's really just looking at that journey from the sort of bottom, you know, and just watching him grow as a character. John, you mentioned one of the scenes in this. This is the moment we've seen the growth in this character. It was the police station when he was bailing Pritam out.
Yeah, when he obviously recites the laws, and it's almost like
it's incredible.
It's like a replaying of the Dushyant Singh character coming in and taking his brother out of jail. He goes and pleads with him, and he comes with him to the police station, and he lays the law down and tells him to release his brother, and then he takes him home. That's him he's came full circle.
Yeah.
He's following in the footsteps of Dushyant. What happens when an honest man, or a man with honesty and integrity, has power? That's playing out for Manoj at that point. He's just past his mains. He's got the interview coming up, and you can see how much he's matured. He's went from this guy who's cheating, just mucking about in class, sitting on the rooftop, just taking scraps out and just pissing his life away, to incredibly mature adult, very well learned in the law and everything. Full circle, Stephen. But Stephen, I think in terms of the story, what is really clever with this and what they actually try to convey, I may be looking deep, I always look deep, but I think what Vidu Vinod does brilliantly with the story is shows you what happens when a human being comes out of their comfort zone. It's very easy to live life just ticking along. I'm fucking living proof of it. I just live life ticking along. I'm in a comfort zone. I have to be like Manoj. When you're shocked out of it, be it meeting a couple like that, be it maybe your father getting off or something happening that changes your life, that shakes you out of the comfort zone, that is not always a negative. That can be an enormously positive thing, because it takes you off on a different journey in life. You meet different people, you have different experiences, and you can grow as a human being and become something fucking incredible. Yeah. I think that's another aspect to the story that's brilliantly conveyed here.
I don't think you're looking too deep, John. I think you nailed it, actually.
Yeah, he's in the comfort zone.
Yeah.
He's shaking out of it. He goes off to Delhi. Like you says, he's like a fish out of water. Even in Galiapur, I think it was, maybe butchering the name of that town. He's lost everything. Yeah. He has no financial backing. He's lying out in the street next to a restaurant. He can't go home. He's like a fucking dog.
Because he goes home a disgrace.
Yeah, he does. He says that at one point to Pandy, but he's like, a dog is a stray dog whining, and they're like kinship there. They're the two. They're sharing the same journey. Yeah. He's like a stray dog, and then he grows into what he is. It shows you what you can become if you just take a chance in life, and I think that's a really positive thing.
There's little moments, John, as well, just to sort of shape Manoj, the character. Obviously, when he goes to that canteen, when he first meets Pandy, he says that I don't want this for free. I don't want these scraps for free. I want to pay my way. I'll work for you for the food, that kind of thing. It showed his integrity. But there was another bit later on, just before he got into his interview, the guy that was guiding him to the room was whispering in his ear. It was almost like a little devil on his shoulder. Temptation.
Absolutely.
If you say this, he might let you. But you said, don't do that, mate, because you've stuck to your honesty and your integrity throughout this journey. Stick to it now. And you were absolutely right, John. And he did, thankfully.
Stephen, there's little things like that. Little thematic things in there. It's almost like Guilty Conscience by Eminem and Dr. Dre. You've got the good and the bad whispering in your ear. I'm not saying that little guy was bad or evil or anything, but he was trying to maybe get him the opportunity to pass the interview, but do it in an unsort of saucity. Is that right?
He said as well, John, which I thought was interesting. He said, no matter what happens in this interview now, I think he's in a better place. And it was also cemented, John, with the letter that Shraddha wrote. That was another emotional moment, wasn't it? Just that relief, that regardless of what happens now and there, he's got the love of his life backing him, supporting him. Regardless of what happens, through thick and thin, she'll be there for him. And I just thought it was a really nice moment. I thought the music in that scene as well was beautiful.
I'll say one thing that I think is just a tiny negative, but it's not a negative because there is shit kickers like this in life. But the interviewer guy, he was a little bit over-egged. He was a little bit, I'm a very, very prejudiced person, and I'm going to shit on you no matter what.
We've seen that Ray
You're not
Stevenson.
an IT teen, so you are going to fail. You're never going to be good enough for me.
It wasn't
Fuck
to that
you.
extreme of Ray Stevenson,
Yeah.
though, in Triple R. But
That's the
I
one
get
thing
what
I'd
you're saying,
say.
yeah.
But I mean, there is people like that. There is prejudiced people out there, pompous people who came from privileged backgrounds.
I still wasn't happy when everyone else was picturing it as if, are you not listening to me?
But you
I've
need
already made
characters
my
like
decision.
that. Even at that point, Stephen, you mentioned that it was going too well for him. You need to have a bit of jeopardy. You need to have some sort of, I don't know, pitfall.
What was it he said as he was leaving? Waste of space.
Of time.
Yeah, waste of
so
time.
Arrogant.
Yeah, so arrogant. Yeah, and that was a nice
Talk
line to put in though,
projecting.
because that was for the audience. That was, oh dear, I don't
Yeah.
think he's going to get this job, because that was the last thing he heard. That's the last thing we heard.
Yeah.
So,
And he had to wait a month stewing.
yeah,
It would have been horrendous.
yeah.
But then, as you said, he was happy. He was marrying Sharada no matter what, Stephen. But it's the human element, Stephen, that really pops out in this story for me. And Guri, obviously, he's none other than sort of Sandeep Bai of this movie, if you'd like. He's the mentor figure. He's doing his best to try and level up everyone else round about him.
Yeah,
also
John,
he
it was a
fails.
carbon copy, and I don't mean that in a negative way. It was.
Yeah.
I like those type of characters
Yeah.
in films, though, and you need those characters in these type of films.
But there is people like that
yeah,
in real life.
yeah. Well,
who
like,
are
yeah.
Sort of empaths. They like to help other people out. They're very aware.
He said it himself. I'm paraphrasing, but he did say something. I want to see your success. I'll live that through my through your eyes. If you know
I think
what I mean.
he says if even one person passes, it's a win for the herd.
Yeah.
Or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
The entire sort of
That's a better paraphrase.
underprivileged people.
yeah.
I mean, I butchered it, to be fair. Gowrie did a far better job of wording it than I did. But he was a
That's
wondrous
because
character.
he read the script.
He read the script, yeah. He was a great character, Steve.
he
Really
was, yeah.
inspirational
Very
character.
likeable,
Also,
yeah.
I laughed at one point and I felt bad when Pandey says that but it's that point I realised I was following a loser. But he wasn't.
No.
And I think he learned the hard way eventually that
Yeah.
he wasn't a loser. He was a very just guy, a very well-meaning guy. And he gave everything to help other people out. He had that tea stall. And obviously he gives up his flat for Manos to study for like the last 6 months or whatever.
He saw what he's capable. He saw the potential, didn't he?
You see all these human elements popping out.
Interesting
Shrada,
as
her
well,
story with the father not trusting her to a degree.
Yeah.
Her growing, she wanted to be, I think, a doctor. Then she's seen a domestic abuse case, an injustice being served, and that changed her. And you've seen her growing and becoming, I think it was what was it she became? Something collector, something like that. I can't remember. But there's lots of human stories in this. The grandmother, the grandfather fought in, I think he was in the army or something. And then she also gives her all for her grandson.
It also, it's the perspective of the storytelling is taken from Pritam Pandey as well. His narrative for most of the film, well, probably the beginning and the end. I don't know too much about the middle. There was some narrative, but there wasn't too much. But
I think it was pretty constant because he
thought,
mentions the flower place. He's
yeah,
working
that's right.
15 hours a day.
Yeah.
I think
So-
3 hours sleep.
Yeah. So I think that was an interesting decision as well to tell the story from his perspective as much as possible. Sometimes when that happens, I get concerned of interpretation.
Yeah.
Is this how it happened, or is this his interpretation of how things happen? The reason I say that is because this character was broken by the end of the film, or near the end of the film. He redeemed himself, but I just thought this fella's broken through his father's behaviour and his story matching up to what happened, really, and that kind of thing. But I didn't really get too much concerned about that. But I thought it was an interesting take. Also, I think it really cemented his sort of purpose and his importance in the film. It wasn't just this character that he meets and then we don't see him again. We knew right away, as soon as that narrative came in, he's going to be on this journey with him. We'll see. It's interesting to see where this takes us.
And it's the way the relationship ebbs and flows as well, Stephen. They're best buds and then they kind of fall away. He obviously phones up Shrada's father, lies, they fall out, and then he comes back. And again, it's just the way that Manos develops alongside Pandey. They kind of go up and down, fluctuate, but then they kind of.
But that makes that makes Manoj's statement to the interview committee at the end.
Yeah.
You know, his journey. I think it was the Mount Everest story. He goes, you know, I had to do the same thing
without oxygen, barefoot.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
more. I'm more. I can't remember what it says. I'm more deserving. I think something along those lines.
And I think that was the importance of the Pandy character, was that both of them went on this journey, but Pandy didn't have as much at stake as we know anyway, apart from obviously his father's approval. But that doesn't outweigh obviously Manoj's whole village, his family, you know, and what they need. And his father as well. You've got to talk about his father, Ranveer.
Stephen, you talk about 2 scenes in this movie that really pack a punch. Well, I'd say there's 3 scenes that pack a punch. Maybe more, but we'll go with 3 just now. Off the top of my head, getting back to the village, meeting his young sister, his friend, discovering his grandmother's passed away. You see the emotion in the character. The time he spends with his mother, and just, she's saying, look, we're okay, we're holding it down, your brother's working, I'm caring for the cows, we've got money coming in. And then he obviously unleashes, and then she's crying. He's almost trying to console her, but then she's consoling him, then it flips. Brilliant scene, but then the father, Ranveer, and Manoj, when he comes to the little flower mill place, this little grubby place he's staying in, the conversation they have, and for him to break down and let his guard down in front of his son, I think that's something that would be difficult for most fathers to do. But certainly in India, where I think a lot of fathers are probably quite disciplinarian,
quite proud
and
people.
proud.
Yeah.
They don't want to show that side to their son. That's quite an impactful scene for me.
If he looked,
And the
well,
son, the
he
way
didn't
that
look,
Manoj
he
actually
was
helps
defeated,
him.
John. He was very defeated at this stage in his sort of
And
story.
Manoj has to remind him.
Yeah.
Remember what you said to, I can't remember the daughter's name. He recites the song, the little thing they were saying, and he kind of gives him a pep talk and says, look, don't worry about money, I'll get you sorted. Go back, fight the fight. Just a really, really great scene. And Ranveer, he's not in the movie a huge amount.
No.
Harish Khanna, but when he's in it, he does pack a punch.
He does,
he's a great presence.
Yeah.
And he's a sort of just guy. He's got principles and he's willing to stand up for them. Backed by his grandmother, who's a very strong-willed woman.
I don't know who the police officer was, John.
Is that the guy that came in? That's Dushyant Singh, isn't it? No, is it? DSP it is. Yeah.
At the beginning and at the end.
Dushyant, that's him, isn't it?
The scene at the end for me when he salutes him was really emotional. Yeah. It really was. You know, just that sort of shared respect. Yeah. You know, it was the two of them on different places at the beginning of the film, obviously. But at the very end, you know, just that salute just did it for me.
In fact, he's like a hero figure.
Yeah.
He's hero worshipping. Yeah. Dushyant, he's looking in the mirror, he's in awe of him. Yeah. He's asking them questions, how can I be like you? And then by the end, he's actually his senior. It's just incredible, the growth of the character. I keep going back to it.
But there was a proud look on his face. You know, he was so happy for him, you know.
Yeah, when he says the guy, the rickshaw guy, he kind of gives a little look as if, I can't fucking believe this. It's unbelievable acting from Piranchu. I think he's something about that guy.
He doesn't have to say a lot. He's got a face about him that, you know, he just knows how to react without saying much.
I just think, Stephen, there's just so many, you hit the nail on the head about the ensemble cast. There's so many great actors playing brilliant characters, and they're all really fully formed. John. It isn't. No, you look at it there, it's maybe about less than half a dozen. I'd rank about 8-9 characters. Probably major characters, 4 or 5. Yeah. But they're all really well formed. Yeah. They feel like real human beings. And Stephen, it's something, I don't know whether it's this story and it's past experiences from the writers, the directors, people who have been involved in going to this place in Delhi and studying for this test. But it seems to bring out a real guttural reaction and performance and story. We've seen it with aspirants and it resonates, and it does, sort of, they can project it onto the people watching. You feel like you're there. It was the same watching aspirants sitting at that little tea stall. You felt like you were there, living it with them. Yeah, there's something about it.
John,
really
I get
packs a punch.
I get that there will be people, obviously, that will say they've come into the channel, you know, and said things like you people. You will not understand this, and
that guy was meaning well.
To an extent, I know what he was meaning. He's meaning that you'll not know emotionally how. I think, you know, that impacts. I think
with that particular comment, I think what he was meaning, because I think I mentioned something at one point about failing and having to resit, and I think he tried to elaborate that once you've passed, there's degrees of grades in passing, and you can pick which path you want to go down after. There's multiple sort of career paths you can pick after you've passed mains and sat the interview. you're not just stuck on one particular thing. You can pick 3-4 different things.
Yeah, I mean, I know we've watched obviously all these web series and stuff like that, John, but we won't fully obviously appreciate the stress of that. But so I get it from that point of view. But in terms of structurally, we understand it. We understand the process. Yeah. But in terms of stakes, we could only imagine how that must feel, because we've never been in that position. I'm not saying we're privileged people. We're certainly not. We're working class people, but
I'm good friends with a guy from Howrah.
Yeah.
Pradesh. Is that right? Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh. I've combined the two. Say, John, Hyderabad, Andhra Pradesh, and I know for a fact what his family were like with him, pushing him. He's a doctor. He's now in Saudi, not in Saudi Arabia, Abu Dhabi. Very successful guy, incredibly intelligent guy, and I know how much he was worked to become something in life.
Yeah,
they really do push their kids. Well, I'm not saying every family, because obviously every family's different, but they really do push for them to succeed in life. So there is enormous pressures.
Yeah.
And I've seen firsthand with him, and a very independent guy, came to fucking Scotland on his lonesome, studied, and now he's a doctor in Abu Dhabi. So I'm not experienced it firsthand.
It's almost the Manoj story right there.
It's almost like Manoj, yeah. He had to work in Glasgow in cold winter nights. Now he's in fucking Abu Dhabi with a driver. And he's a skin cancer expert, so
phenomenal.
What a fucking guy he is.
What a journey.
What a guy. What
a video. Yeah.
So I can relate through him, really. But
it makes me wonder though, John. I'm pretty sure Paddy will
we call him Paddy. He's Praveen.
Will be like that. In terms of where he is now. I know he'll be thinking back to those bakery days. I know he'll think back to them and go, oh yeah. It's fondly as well. When he does mention it, messages.
Loves his food.
Yeah, he'll say, he'll remember certain things. He'll remember obviously your dad, and he'll mention things, potato scones and stuff like that. You're like, it's amazing that he remembers that
Subway breakfasts. He was a great guy. Praveen, I need to get back in contact with Praveen. I've not spoke to him in a while, but that's for another thing entirely. I digress, but I can kind of relate through what Praveen Paddy, as we call him. Yeah. The life he had and sort of the pressures to succeed, so I can kind of relate through that. But Steve, it's a fantastic human story, and that's what comes through in this again and again and again and again. Not just Manoj, but Shraddha, Pandey, Gauri, the father, even Dushyant Singh, where he is, Pushpa, the mother, where she's at, having to hold down this familial unit in this town on her lonesome. The grandmother passes away, she's got nothing. It's a real human story that resonates. It's a universal story, extraordinarily sort of crafted through Manoj and his journey. Just really enjoyed it on a story level, Stephen, on an acting level. Vikrant Massey is just fucking unbelievable. And that's you speak about transformations on the script, but physical transformations. This guy looks different every 25 minutes in this movie. He goes from a young guy, carefree, to haggard,
tired,
stubble, just looks unkempt, to looking even more tired. It's almost like a fucking Disney or Cartoon Network character with the matchsticks in the eyes, keeping them open. He's that tired. He looks gubbed, as we say over here.
I thought physically his body language as well was very important in this, particularly when Shraddha gives him the nod to say that he's passed. He's just that collapse.
That's another standout scene.
I think both of them were really good in that scene without saying much. But I think his physicality throughout the film was phenomenal. That was just sort of the tip of the iceberg. But I think throughout, just the way his body language was at the very start as well, at that train station. Or bus station. I keep saying it's the bus station. I keep saying train station.
Steve, I mean, we can go off and we really do have to go off and just through his performance, we can sort of think through that. Technically, what they did with that, with the sound dropping to like his heartbeat and breathing, I think it was breathing more than heartbeat. They capture the disorientation, the panic, in him perfectly through the sound dropping, through a quick pan, a close up to his face. He looks fucking gone.
Yeah.
And there's numerous times in this movie where that happens, when he fails and he thinks he's passed and he mucks up the English essay. I think he thinks it's terrorism and it's tourism.
Yeah.
You see him hyperventilating inside and panicking. He doesn't even speak.
No. He doesn't have to.
Technical aspects and sheer horror in his face.
Yep.
And then again, I think in the interview, you hear that breathing when he thinks it's all fallen apart around about him.
There was a bit, John, with the library guy as well, what I thought was fantastic when he was accused of theft.
Was it? Yeah, he says son of a thief.
You did. You saw that. You saw the Ramveer coming through. You know, we've seen this. We've already seen this action, you know, in the start of the film with the father.
But there was a line earlier in the movie to Dushan.
We're not thieves. That's what he says when he leaves. We're not thieves.
Yeah, we're not
and
thieves.
I thought, that's an incredible
but
line.
He said to Dushan in the sort of car, my father was thought honesty was a great thing. My father's an honest man, but he seems to get him suspended everywhere he goes. I think he realised in that moment he was going to be his father. He was going to lash out, but he realised where that would take him.
Yeah.
And he stepped back.
Yep.
He took the obviously sand or whatever and walked out.
And that's down to performance, John.
Down to performance, but down to the character.
Yeah.
Realising, I respect my father. He's a good man, but he's got flaws, and that's what's holding him back ultimately. I'm going to be better than him.
Yeah.
I'm not going to slap this guy. I'm going to walk away and become better. It just shows you the growth.
Yeah.
And the character and the performance is fucking phenomenal. Vikrant is unbelievable, Steve. We've seen him in 3 projects now, as you did say, or different performances. Made in Heaven's a little bit more reined in. Obviously, Mirzapur, he was outstanding season 1.
John,
almost
I
outshone.
I don't think this has been melodramatic in saying this as well in terms of Vikrant Massey is that, you know, if you, and I'm not meaning this in a bad way towards the likes of a Dev Patel or anything like that, but you take that performance, I don't think that's any better or worse than a Dev Patel performance in Slumdog Millionaire performance in terms of that journey he goes through, the emotional impact, his body language, everything about this guy's performance. That this guy should be, not that he needs it and not that India needs it, but this guy should be getting some kind of recognition for this performance.
I think this movie would resonate very well in Western.
I think it would, yeah.
In the Western
I think it would.
side of the planet. I think if more people became aware of it, it would do very, very well. It's these kind of stories resonate universally, as I did say. I mentioned Cool Runnings after the reaction. Totally different setting. It's a sports movie. It's almost like Dangal, where you've got trials and tribulations, growth, and then there's a real sort of euphoric
bit at the end. Doesn't really matter, but you want them to succeed in terms of obviously
Cool Runnings. They fail, but they don't.
They carried. They just wanted to finish that race, and that's what they did. They carried that sleigh over the line on their shoulders.
Those kind of stories are enjoyed. And I'm pretty fucking sure if this became a sort of viral release, people would really enjoy it.
It's funny, John.
A comment,
yeah.
Oh shit! What have I done?
Well, John, I can read it. It's here anyway. It's from Nishen, and it says, "Glad the movie resonated with both of you. Very inspirational and motivating movie. Don't give in when life gives one only lemons." True.
Yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it says. It's trials, tribulations, adversity.
That's life. Yeah. That's what happens in life.
Oh, what's that famous
It's
line?
not about how hard you
how hard you can get it and keep moving forward.
It's true though. Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah.
It is. That's
all of it.
It is.
We're just going to move the quotes now from now on until the end of this.
But that's why it resonates, because it is. It's a human story, and every human being, I would hope, can empathise and connect with what's happening to Manoj. Not everyone can, because there's psychopaths out there, but I digress. Vikrant, Stephen, unbelievable. Standout performer. I'm not even going to go into standout performers. No, because he is the man in this movie. But absolutely outstanding. But the ensemble are we did mention them, very impressive.
Equally
Peter
impressive.
Shankar, brilliant. Anand Joshi, brilliant. Anshuman Pushkar, brilliant. Harish Khanna for the time he's in it. Geeta Agrawal Sharma for the time she's in it. They're all really... they're all impactful. They've all got the part to play, but it's the Manoj show.
It's his journey, it's his story,
There's something about Manoj Bajpayee. There's just something about that name. All the best people are Manoj, apart from me.
From a technical point of view, John, I really...
point of view, brilliant.
Yeah, I thought it was fantastic. And you mentioned some of the sort of soundscapes there. Yeah. Disorientation. That high pitched sort of, it's like almost like bombs went off, and that's the, I
get that all the time.
Yeah, I get that as well. I get that. Don't worry about it. Most of you get it, but it's just those little things that make a good production, John. Yeah. And obviously the music throughout as well was fantastic.
It was score. It was Shantanu Moitra was the, I think it just says, it didn't say composer there. It said music by composer. I can't, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think if I actually remember any music moments in this. They were probably low key. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there was. Yeah, there was the sort of whistling.
You look at
Strada's
what he's worked on, the Three Idiots and Sada Rhythm.
Yeah,
two really great films.
Yeah,
I've not seen Madras Cafe. Yeah,
no, I've not seen that either, Steve. Might need to look into it now because he seems to have a fucking unbelievable hit rate. So, and he's a baldy like me, so we need to stick together as baldies. He does look young, yeah. But he utilises Shraddha. She does that little, not whistling, but it's a song she sings.
Yeah.
And they utilise that throughout.
Yeah.
The sort of moments where, I don't know, he's maybe low ebb or whatever, they use that. So there's some great musical moments in there.
Yeah.
In terms of visual, I mean, fucking unbelievable. We spoke about it already. Capturing the emotion. You're not going to have a performance like that come out if you've not got great visuals. And you're capturing every sort of nuance in the face.
And who is the cinematographer, John?
Rangarajan Ramabandran.
Wow.
I don't know if I says that right. I probably haven't.
But better than I could have said it, yeah.
The visuals, even the sort of drone shots panning down at the end, at the beginning, the way they capture things is just very, very well done.
Again, this guy's involved in
12 Fail,
Kamachi and
Shikara,
yeah. So
Shikara.
Yeah. Not a large, obviously, background. He's not got obviously a huge resume. It's enough, I suppose. But I just thought production wise, John, it was a very well made film. There was very subtle shots in there in terms of overhead and wide and stuff like that. But it was more of a
shots at Shraddha's place. Of the hills
but it's more a personal story. So there was a lot of close ups and stuff like that, John, which I like in these type of dramas. But a fantastically made film.
Yep. Technically really enjoyable. Editing was great as well.
Yeah.
And Vidu Vinod again really put everything into this. Wrote, directed, edited the movie. That's the way it should be. If it's your story,
if it's their vision,
yeah, you should be involved in all sort of elements of the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the words of Queen.
Yes. I'm thinking of Brian May now.
Yeah.
I can't be thinking about guitarists lined up buying his guitar.
Yeah, I know.
Right, I'm going at.
Listen, never mind these guitars, what about sitars?
Yeah, I need to get a sitar. I need to learn. I did mention that at one point. There's a little sitar number. I need to get a sitar.
Yeah.
And become George Harrison, Brian Jones.
You can actually do a theme for us. An original.
Need to learn it first. I've not got Ravi Shankar to fucking teach me like George did. And he was a better guitarist than me as well. But yeah, technically, very, very good movie, Stephen. I can't find fault in this movie. I said it after the reaction. I cannot find a single fault. If I was nitpicking, I'm sure I could find bits here and there. But in the main, I think this is as close to cinematic perfection as you're going to get. The story resonates.
Are we doing ratings just now then, John? Because I think we've covered everything,
it's a fucking 10
for
me. It's a 10 out of 10. I can't find fault in it. I've got to give it a 10. It's got to be. It's a perfect movie for me. I can't find a single fault in this movie. Technically, it's very good. Visually, musically, editing. The performances are brilliant. A great ensemble performance, headed up by a fantastic lead performance. Director does a great job. The story is universal, really enjoyable. You go through the roller coaster of emotions. I'm getting nervous watching it. That doesn't happen. So it was bringing something out in me. So I really enjoyed it. For me, it's a 10 out of 10. I can't sing its praises enough.
Yeah, John, I can only replicate what you said there in terms of the journey that the audience goes on in this film, as well as obviously the characters. There is times when you feel, how's this guy going to get out of this? How's he going to succeed in some, what is his sort of measure and success as well in life? And will he get to where he wants? At the very beginning, you don't really think that, you don't really believe that. This character does throughout. He believes in himself. There's moments when he has little doubts and stuff like that, but the determination's there. And to keep his honesty and his integrity throughout this story is another story. Because it would have been easy for him to try and find those shortcuts and try and streamline himself into those situations to get him there where he wants a lot quicker. And he didn't. He did it through hard work. He did it through hard graft. And those kind of characters, for me, it resonates with working class people, I think, a lot. Because we all have those struggles in life. And this character represented those struggles in life. For me, I think I'm glad the director, the writer, and the editor was the same person, because that way there's no compromise. He's got one vision, and they carry that through from beginning to end. And just in terms of acting, strong cast. We do have to pick out obviously a standout, and obviously 9 times out of 10 that is going to be the main character, particularly when it's his story. I know there was other stories in there, John, you mentioned them, that was all about obviously Vikrant Massey's character's story. I get nervous at times, and then there was times where I got emotional as well, and there were some standout moments in there emotionally from all these supporting characters throughout his journey. And I thought that they made the landing stick every time with those relationships. For me, it's a 10 out of 10 as well. It's one of those very rare stories where the production is bang on the money, the acting is bang on the money, the characters are so relatable, it's bang on the money, and just the way they stick the landing as well. Right up to the last sort of 2 minutes of this film, you still didn't know if he was going to get the job or not. Just a really great way of telling a story as well.
And they get back to the village.
Yeah, perfect. It's a perfect film.
Gets to slag off those little corrupt bitches. His father gets comeuppance on them. Obviously, Stephen, I can speak briefly. I mean, you talk about transformation. He goes from what he is, unkempt to dapper, get his haircut, he's in the uniform. Just looks fucking incredible. So, just the story just sticks a landing on a visual level, on a story level, on a character level. It's just really, really well executed. A very, very well executed movie. It's a biography, Stephen. I think Manos actually exists in real life.
Based on a true story.
Yeah, so it's based on a real guy, and I've said time and again,
inspired by 1,000,000 true stories. That's a good line actually, John, because it's obviously that's a sort of nod to everyone that's went through this.
And the majority haven't succeeded.
Yeah,
we know that because we've seen that in Aspirants, and also this, that the vast majority fail. I think 200 out of 200,000 or something.
It's incredible, the stats.
I mean, that's not even fucking. Is that 10%? It is, isn't it? No, is that 10% of 200?
Don't ask me.
Like 2,000, 10% of 200. Not even that. It's like 1% or something. Fucking crazy when you think about it. As you can see, I wouldn't pass shit at maths, so I'm certainly not passing USPC or UPSC. I always screw it up. I'll just say both to be safe. Test, that's not going to happen. But yeah, 10 out of 10 for me, Stephen. Briefly, visuals as well. Last thing I'm going to say, I was watching the trailer there. It came up when we were on IMDb there while you were speaking. Shot of the grandmother. When he's on his lonesome, sitting, getting nothing, despondent, and it goes silent and it's just her sitting. And then it cuts away and you hear her saying, go get it or something. That was just a really good moment. Just really well executed little moments like that.
Yeah.
Fucking great movie. I urge anybody that's not seen it to go and watch it. Although if you're here watching this, you've probably seen it already. So,
and if you haven't, we spoiled it for you.
I suppose we're preaching to the choir, singing to the choir. I don't know why we say preaching. Doesn't make any fucking sense, does it? I suppose preachers do preach to the choir a lot because they're in there, aren't they? Certainly the well-to-do churches, chapels anyway, not the ones that we frequent, the shit kickers. There ain't no choirs. We've got people singing, but let me tell you, they're not making a choir. Usually old incontinent women with nothing better to do with their time. I digress. What's your thoughts on 12 Fail? What would you rate 12 Fail? What was your favourite point in the story? Favourite performance? Just thoughts on the movie in general. On our reaction, perhaps, if you have to say about that as well, you can find it down below on our review. I know some people like to say the worst reaction ever. Well,
ever, dudes.
Yeah, well, fuck. That's the way we react. And if you're not happy, just go.
I always like that, John, though, because I know that
I don't even respond anymore.
You aren't even paying attention. And then we do this review and it just fucking
yes. They're not here to see that we do fucking pay attention because we remember everything. So we've clearly paid attention. Or otherwise, we wouldn't speak for over a fucking hour about these movies every time.
So confident we are.
Yep. I mean, I pay attention, believe me. But anyway, share your thoughts down below if you have anything to say about it. Like the video if you've enjoyed it. Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get notifications straight to your eyeballs. Do the same thing over on Twitch. Follow button, notifications button over there to see us live over there. You can hit the follow and like on Spotify podcast as well. It's not been one up in a while, but
We'll get
so
back.
if we get back to it, you can certainly follow us there, and that will allow you to listen to us in audio form. And let me tell you, I've listened. We sound every bit as good in audio form as we do right here on YouTube and Twitch.
Right here,
Difference
right
is,
now, yeah.
you don't have to look at our ugly mushies, so it's in many ways better. All that's left to be said though is thank you once again to all the people who come in and commented. Thank you once again for watching. Till the next time though, me and Stephen are done.